in the context of Pakistan, because I feel the way the Pakistan economy works and moves and is set up is very different to the West. And because I had some spare time, I started researching how businesses work. And I was like, wow, things are really different, very unstructured, but in all of this anarchy and chaos, they still work. And that's when I started I'd always been really passionate about organic products, natural products. And I felt that there was a dearth in Pakistan for those. And one of the things that really kind of stood out for me was that globally, all the companies that have done well are brands. And in Pakistan, there are no brands. And at that time, I would say 9 years ago now, there were a lot of textile had made leaps and bounds. So you saw textile brands come up, which kind of makes sense because even our exports are textile based and we're very good at textile. But in any other kind of form, there were these imported brands and you had these big traders bringing in imported brands. But you didn't have locally formed brands. And if I looked at the personal care space, I was like, wow, there are no brands. And even if they are, they're not selling very good quality product. And then I also felt that Pakistanis don't trust local brands. And that's for perhaps because generally our manufacturing is not very good. So for any industry, if a product is local, it's not trusted. But
I would like to interrupt you here. I don't think it's that we don't build good stuff because we export. We are one of the biggest exporters, right? But हम जो चीज़ यहाँ बेचते हैं, उसकी quality पता नहीं क्यों ठीक नहीं होती.
So that might be true for textile. I think that's a myth.
I think ये universal बात नहीं है.
I'm talking sector agnostic.
कुछ sectors हैं. हम पाकिस्तान में बहुत ऐसे sectors हैं which are doing phenomenally well.
Look at the leather industry. Look at the textile industry.
Whatever 7-8 years ago, अगर आप बाजार ही जा रहे हैं, let's say you go to your यहाँ का जो आपका एरिया का स्टोर है, तो वहाँ पे आपको शेल्फ पे प्रिडोमिनेंटली ज़्यादा इंपोर्टेड प्रोडक्ट्स ही नज़र आते हैं, ठीक है. और अगर आपको कोई जैसा मायरा ने कहा पर्सनल केयर में अगर आप देखेंगे तो जो लोकल प्रोडक्ट्स हैं दे आर मोर लाइक होम ग्रोन काइंड ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स या बहुत ही चंद एक पुरानी कंपनीज हैं. तो वो गैप काफी बड़ा था एट द टाइम. दिस इज नॉट टू से कि इंडस्ट्री वाइज ये एक प्रॉब्लम था. दिस इज जस्ट सेइंग दैट इस पर्टिकुलर दायरे में रह के ये चीज डेफिनेटली नजर आई थी.
डेफिनेटली यू आर एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट बिकॉज स्किन केयर व्हेन वी से कि हम अच्छी चीज एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं, इट इज इन सो मेनी अदर इंडस्ट्रीज, बट इफ वी टॉक अबाउट स्किन केयर, आई डोंट थिंक सो कि देयर इज एनी स्किन केयर ब्रांड व्हिच इज बीइंग एक्सपोर्टेड फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान इवन एट दैट टाइम.
There are
more specific to like
But I mean, they only. They are very mass market, and they're not necessarily the best quality. So I mean, and now there's more. But if I talk about 9 years ago, what you saw on the shelf, and I'm talking like forget the export market. I'm just talking about the local landscape. Yeah. There were no Pakistani brands. All of the brands that were out there were multinational companies, and locally, all the brands that we saw were like the whitening cream guys.
That's true.
And otherwise, and there was everything else was imported. And also from a natural and organic perspective, everything that was or natural and organic, truly, that people trusted was very expensive because it was imported. And stuff that was being locally and marketed as herbal wasn't quite herbal and mislabeled. And a lot of stuff that was that even I saw on the shelf, I questioned because I was like, how can something be sold for 100 rupees and is being marketed as completely natural? Surely there's something not correct with it. And I mean, another side to my personal story is that I'd always been really into natural and organic. I'd always had sensitive skin growing up. I couldn't use what my friends were using, even as a teenager. And so I'd always kind of lent towards natural and organic products. I did a couple of courses online to kind of blend my own creams. I'd also, for my allergies, allopathic medicine had never worked. So I'd always, I'd studied Ayurveda, I'd studied homeopathy and, concocted my own stuff to work for myself. So also I was looking for ingredients for myself when I'd moved back and I couldn't find them. Or I just couldn't find that quality. And so I started kind of doing a business plan because I was so vela, that, why are things like this? And is it, and I started interviewing women, literally on the shelves, like why are you buying this product, which is this personal care product? Is it what 4P is it? Is it price, promotion, placement, product? And do you care about the ingredients for children? Do you not? Do you want natural and organic product? What would you pay for it? Etc. And we kind of figured out this niche. And by this time, Rema was back as well. And I kind of pitched the idea to her. And the way I pitched it, actually, if I remember, was, look, I'm going to go back to London in like 8 months or a year. I think it was 8 months.
Yeah, so
and I was like, I think that we're onto something here. I've done a bit of a business plan. And this was like 4 months into my business plan. We did it for about 8-9 months. And if I set something up for you, would you run it? And I'll be a shareholder. And because I don't think I'm going to be here. And and I guess that's how the seeds of Conatural were sown.
So did you offer her a partnership, or did you say, "Okay, I've made a business plan and
she was my first sounding board. I was like,
I mean, we were talking about it आपस में, but when she was thinking about it, she was like, हाँ ये हो सकता है, but then maybe I won't be here, so then let's see what happens. It was a bit open-ended, I would say.
Yeah.
It was very open-ended because it was like, maybe she's going to go back, and she was pretty sure that she was going to go back. I mean, I would say like 90% sure that she was going to go back. ऐसा भी नहीं, नहीं ऐसा भी नहीं. कभी-कभार होता है ना कि शायद नहीं, अभी I'm not sure. Like maybe she came with some kind of unsurety. It was very clear that I am taking some time off because I need to chill. It's been pretty hectic, so मैं chill करने आई हूँ. तो so फिर वो.
Yeah, but I chilled for a month and then started on this. So yeah.
But yeah, and then it was. And she kind of dabbed herself in like a couple of other places also. कुछ friends के साथ 1-2 चीजें करी थी. Like चैन से नहीं बैठी. So she kept herself busy और करते कराते वो busyness में ये भी बात छिड़ गई. और I think one thing led to another, and then we were like, let's try it. And then
And then at what point did you decide कि नहीं यार, this can work, so I'm staying?
It was basically
that was later.
No, that was later. I said that I wanted to create a proper business plan for it. I wanted to create and I did it almost like a thesis. Like I created a cash flow for it. I created a proper business plan for it. I spent a lot of time researching what product could work, what kind of costs it would. I mean, I didn't want to do a very small home-based business. I was like, if I want to set up a factory, who are the kind of personnel I need to hire? E-commerce at that time was just starting in Pakistan. I was very used to buying online. Pakistan was very, very nascent, very small at that time. Even the big companies like Unilever and L'Oreal were not selling online. The only big, I would say, big at that time platform that was out there was Daraz. A lot of the textile companies didn't have e-commerce websites. So I was like, wow, I mean, it's such a big market, and smartphone penetration is going to go up so much in the next 10 years. Why aren't people thinking about digital?
Like at the time, the whole smartphone game was really
on. People were moving to smartphones. And so I felt that there was a big market that was not being captured from an awareness and education perspective. And then when I was doing my business plan, I also kind of, in the later time, I realized, I was like, why is everyone paying lip service to women empowerment here? All of these ESG regulations. And I felt that, wow, there's just no safe spaces for women to work here. And I was like, how can people who've done this before, working abroad, bring in those principles? Because you have to have experience in that to actually come and implement it here. And what are the kind of constitutions that companies need to follow to create that embodiment of true women empowerment? And for whenever I define women empowerment, it's not just about women, it's about women allies. Like it's not gender specific. So I was like, okay, well, how can you create a company here that obviously is solving the problem of personal care in the space that we've carved out? How do we put in the women empowerment structure to it? And then also, I'd always been a tree hugger and very pro sustainability and against animal testing. I'm like a big, animal lover for people who know me. So I was like, how can we bring all of the bad stuff in the personal care industry to do something good and focus on sustainability and recycling? And even at that time, I mean, in the news, it's only coming in now, but 10 years ago, everyone knew that a country like Pakistan would be massively affected by climate change. And now we're talking about it 10 years later, but we have such a huge population problem, huge consumption patterns. Single-use plastic is a very, very big problem here. So it's like, well, how can we kind of create a company that addresses all of these things whilst it's not an NGO, whilst it's creating a safe space for women, and whilst it's making epic products, not these substandard stuff that you see locally. And how can we create a brand with this?